There are moments in life when our hearts ache in silence, when no one understands, and even our own words feel too heavy to express. In those moments, we turn to Allah. But sometimes, even in prayer, we feel unheard. We wonder, why doesn't Allah answer me? The truth is, Allah always answers, but we must first learn how to speak to Him. Speaking to Allah is not like speaking to people. People listen when they are free. Allah listens when you are broken. People get tired of hearing your pain. Allah calls you because of your pain. The right way to talk to Allah begins not with eloquence, but with sincerity. When you pour your heart before Him, raw, unfiltered, trembling, that's when your words reach beyond the skies. The Prophet ﷺ said that Allah is closer to us than our jugular vein. This means you never need to find Allah, you only need to remember Him. When you make dua, don't just recite words. Don't just raise your hands. Raise your heart. Speak to Him as if He's right there beside you, because He is. And when you ask, don't demand as if you deserve, beg as if you are in need. True dua is not about asking for what you want. It's about aligning your heart with what Allah knows you need. Sometimes His silence is not rejection. It's protection. Sometimes His delay is not punishment. It's preparation. Allah does not forget you. He is teaching you patience, purifying your heart, and preparing your blessings for the right time. So when you talk to Allah, speak from your heart, not your tongue. Cry if you must. Whisper if you can. Fall in sujood and tell Him everything, because the one who knows your pain is the only one who can heal it. When you talk to Allah with truth and humility, your dua doesn't just change your situation, it transforms you. When you stand before Allah, the most merciful, and raise your hands in dua, what matters most is not how beautiful your words, but how honest your heart is. True communication with Allah does not come from rehearsed phrases or borrowed lines. It comes from sincerity. Too often, we worry about saying the right things in our prayers. We think we need to sound poetic, emotional, or perfect for Allah to listen. But Allah is not moved by the rhythm of your words. He is moved by the truth within them. He listens to your silence, your sighs, your tears, and even the prayers you never managed to speak out loud. Sincerity means being real, being raw, standing before your Creator without masks or pretense. When you speak to Allah, you do not need to impress Him. You cannot. He already knows who you are. He knows the parts of you that you hide from the world. He knows your fears, your insecurities, your weaknesses, and your quiet hopes. So why pretend? Why act as if you have it all together when He already sees through the layers of your soul? The beauty of speaking sincerely to Allah is that it frees you from pretending. It allows you to be seen, fully, completely, and without judgment, by the one who loves you unconditionally. Sometimes, we speak to Allah as if we're performing, as if dua is a ritual rather than a conversation. We rush through our supplications, repeating the same words without feeling their depth. Our tongues move, but our hearts remain distant. This is what sincerity corrects. When you speak with sincerity, your heart takes the lead and your tongue follows. You don't just say, "Why ya Allah, help me." You mean it. You feel the weight of that plea in your chest. You realize that only He can change what you cannot. That realization transforms your dua from a routine into a lifeline. Sincerity is what made the prayers of the Prophet so powerful. Think of Prophet Yunus ASA in the belly of the whale. He didn't recite long verses or eloquent words. He said, "Ex la illa illa anta, subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin." There is no God but you, glory be to you, indeed, I was among the wrongdoers. Those words were short, but they carried the full weight of his heart. They were soaked in sincerity. That sincerity pierced through the darkness of the ocean and reached the throne of Allah. It wasn't the length or beauty of his prayer that saved him. It was its truth. When you talk to Allah, He doesn't need you to be fluent. He needs you to be real. You can speak in your own language, in your own way, even if it's clumsy or broken. Allah understands every tear that falls before you can put your feelings into words. So don't wait for the perfect moment or the right dua. Just begin. Whisper, cry, confess. Whatever your heart needs to say it to Him. That is sincerity. Speaking with sincerity also means letting go of the desire for performance, not just in front of others, but within yourself. Sometimes, even when we're alone, our ego creeps in. We try to make our prayers sound beautiful, or we think of what others would say if they heard us. But dua is not a performance for the world. It's an intimate exchange between a servant and his Lord. Allah is not grading your eloquence. He is listening to your intention. Sincerity also means accepting your dependence on Him completely. It means acknowledging that you cannot manage your life without His help. It means saying, Ya Allah, I need you, and meaning it with every part of your being. There is no weakness in that, only strength, because when you speak to Allah from a place of honesty and vulnerability, you are closest to Him. The Prophet the Seerah said that Allah is near to the brokenhearted. He listens most attentively to those who come to Him with humility, not pride. The next time you stand in dua, take a deep breath and remember you are not talking to a distant deity. You are talking to the one who created you, sustains you, and loves you more than anyone ever could. You don't need fancy words. You just need a sincere heart. Speak to Him as you are, confused, tired, hopeful, or broken. Let your tears be your words if your voice trembles. Because when you speak to Allah with sincerity, your dua doesn't just travel upward, it transforms you inward. You begin to feel peace even before your prayer is answered. You start to trust that He heard you, even if life remains sulub. And that is the beauty of sincerity. It turns prayer into connection, words into healing, and silence into faith. When you raise your hands to make dua, remember who you are speaking to. You are standing before the Lord of the worlds, the one who created the heavens and the earth, the one who gives, the one who controls every heartbeat and every breath. To stand before such majesty requires humility. Being humble in your requests means recognizing your position before Allah, that you are the needy one and He is the rich. You are the seeker and He is the giver. You are the servant and He is the king. Humility is the soul of dua. Without it, your words become known. When you approach Allah with arrogance, with a heart that feels entitled to be answered, you close the very door through which mercy enters. But when you approach Him with humility, with a heart that trembles and knows its own weakness, the doors of the heavens open for you. The difference between these two postures is not in words, but in spirit. You can say the same dua 1,000 times, but only when it comes from a humble heart does it rise to Allah with power. To be humble in your requests means you ask Allah not because you think you deserve something, but because you know He is generous. It means you trust His wisdom even when His answer is delayed. You do not demand. You plead. You do not question His decree. You submit. You do not measure His love by how much He gives. You recognize His love in the way He holds, delays, or redirects your prayers toward what is best for you. Look at the dua of the prophets. Each one of them asked with humility. Prophet Zachariah A.S. asked for a child when he was old and his wife was barren, yet his dua was wrapped in humility. He said, "As my Lord, indeed my bones have weakened, and my head has filled with white, but never have I been disappointed in my supplication to you." He acknowledged his weakness, but he also remembered Allah's endless generosity. That balance between acknowledging our powerlessness and trusting Allah's power is the essence of humility in dua. Being humble also means realizing that Allah owes us nothing, but we owe Him everything. Sometimes we pray as though we are bargaining. Why, Allah, I've prayed, I've fasted, I've done good deeds, so now I deserve this. But dua is not a transaction. You don't earn blessings through bargaining. You receive them through mercy. The very ability to make dua is itself a gift, a sign that Allah wants to give you something even before you ask. Humility transforms the way we approach prayer. When you are humble, you do not rush through your dua. You pause, reflect, and speak from your heart. You don't just recite memorized words. You talk to Allah with a tone of respect, awe, and gratitude. You don't focus on what you want. You focus on who you are asking. You remind yourself that you are speaking to the one who fed you when you had nothing, healed you when you were broken, and forgave you when you didn't deserve forgiveness. That realization softens the heart. It makes your voice tremble and your eyes fill with tears. It makes you whisper, "Oh, Ya Allah, I am nothing without you." Humility also teaches us to accept Allah's answer, even when it's not what we wanted. Sometimes, out of love, Allah withholds what you ask for. You might cry for something, not realizing that it could harm you. You might beg for something temporary, while Allah wants to give you something eternal. A humble heart accepts this. It trusts that Allah's wisdom is greater than its own desires. It says, "Afore Allah, I trust you. If this is good for me, bring it close. If not, keep it far, even if I want it." And when you are humble, you don't compare your dua to others. You don't say, "Why was their prayer answered, but not mine?" Because you understand that every heart has its own journey with Allah. You stop competing and start surrendering. You stop demanding and start thanking. That shift in attitude is what makes your dua more powerful than you can imagine. Think of the way a child asks a parent for something. Not with pride, but with complete dependence. The child knows they have nothing to offer but trust. That's how we should approach Allah. Not as equals making requests, but as children running to their Lord, knowing that His mercy is bigger than their mistakes. The more humble your heart, the higher your dua rises. So, when you speak to Allah, lower your head, soften your tone, and open your heart. Don't come with arrogance or impatience. Come with humility and faith. Know that Allah loves the voice of the humble. The Prophet said, "Whoever humbles himself before Allah, Allah raises him. Every tear that falls in humility is seen by the one who never forgets. Every whisper of surrender is heard by the one who never sleeps." And perhaps the most beautiful thing about humility in dua is this: when you bow low before Allah in need, He raises you high in honor. When you admit that you cannot, He shows you that He always can. When you speak with humility, your dua may change your destiny. Not because of the strength of your voice, but because of the softness of your heart. When you talk to Allah, don't speak as though He is distant, unreachable, or hidden behind the clouds of the unseen. Speak as if He is near, because He truly is. Allah tells us in the Quran, "When my servants ask you concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the call of the caller when he calls upon me," of Surah Al-Baqarah 208:6. These words are not just verses, they are a promise, a reminder that the one who created you is closer to you than anyone else could ever be. He is not far away in some distant realm. He is near to your heart, aware of every whisper that passes through your mind, every tear that escapes your eyes, and every age that you cannot explain. To talk to Allah as if He's near means to make your dua personal and alive. It means you stop thinking of dua as a ritual or obligation and start seeing it as an intimate conversation, a sacred dialogue between you and your Lord. You are not just reciting words from a book, you are opening your soul to the one who understands it best. You don't have to raise your voice. He hears you even when you whisper in the depths of the night. You don't have to search for the right words. He already knows what's in your heart before you even say it. Sometimes, We approach Allah as though He is far, as though He's too busy managing the universe to care about our small struggles. But that's not who Allah is. He is Al-Sam, the all-hearing, and Al-Qarib, the near. He listens to every broken heart, every silent prayer, every sigh that escapes your lips when you can't form words. You don't need to shout to be heard by Allah. He hears the cry you make in your chest before it ever reaches your tongue. When you talk to Allah as if He's near, you begin to feel His presence in everything. You see His mercy in the sunrise, His kindness in a friend's smile, His wisdom in every delay, and His comfort in every pain. You start to realize that Allah has never left you, not for a single moment. The distance you sometimes feel is not because Allah has moved away, it's because your heart has drifted. The moment you turn back to Him, He's already there, waiting, listening, loving. Think about how you talk to a close friend, openly, naturally, without pretending. You share your joys, your sorrows, your secrets, and your fears. Talking to Allah should be even more sincere than that. Tell Him what scares you, what confuses you, what breaks you. Tell Him what you're ashamed to tell anyone else. There is no judgment with Him. He is not shocked by your flaws, nor does He tire of your confessions. The more you talk to Him, the lighter your heart, because His nearness brings peace that nothing else can. The Prophet's ears used to turn to Allah for everything, not just the big things, but the small ones too. He would speak to Allah in moments of joy and in moments of pain. That is what it means to live with awareness of His nearness. To know that you can turn to Him anytime, anywhere, in any canoeing. You don't need to wait for a mosque, a specific time, or perfect words. You can talk to Him while driving, walking, crying, or sitting in silence. His nearness is not confined by time or space. When you talk to Allah as if He's near, your relationship with Him becomes real. Your faith stops being theoretical and becomes personal. You stop feeling like you're talking to the sky and start realizing that you are being heard, deeply, lovingly, and constantly. Even when your prayers seem unanswered, you feel peace because you know they reached Him. You start to recognize that the answer is not in getting what you asked for, but in the tranquility He places in your heart after you've spoken to Him. This kind of closeness changes you. It makes you softer, more patient, more content. You begin to see life differently. Every hardship becomes a message. Every delay becomes a lesson. Every pain becomes a call from Allah saying, "Come closer to me." And when you respond, you realize that He was never far to begin with. There is something profoundly healing in knowing that the one who manages the stars in the sky also listens to the quiet tremor in your heart. You are never alone, no matter how lonely you feel. Allah is near when you fall, when you cry, when you are lost. Talk to Him like you would to someone sitting right next to you, because His mercy surrounds you even when you can't see. So when you whisper your dua tonight, remember you are not calling out into an empty space. You are speaking to the one who loves you more than your mother, who understands you better than you understand yourself, and who has been with you through every unseen moment of your life. Talk to Him with that awareness. Speak softly, sincerely, confidently, knowing that He hears you, He sees you, and He is nearer to you than your own heartbeat. When you raise your hands and make dua, ask yourself, are you feeling what you are saying, or are you merely saying it? Too often, our tongues move but our hearts stay silent. We repeat familiar words out of habit, not realizing that Allah does not listen to empty recitations. He listens to the depth of our sincerity. True dua is not about how much you say, it's about how deeply you mean it. When you make dua without feeling, your words stay on your lips. But when your heart trembles with what you say, your words reach the heavens. To feel your dua means to let every word come from a place of truth inside you. When you say, Ya Allah, Forgive me. You should feel the weight of your sins, the regret of your mistakes, and the yearning for His mercy. When you say, Af, Ya Allah, guide me, you should feel your own confusion, your need for clarity, and your helplessness without His let. Dua is not poetry. It's honesty. It's the language of the soul, not of the tongue. Think of the times in your life when you were truly broken, when the world felt too heavy, when you cried without understanding why. In those moments, when you whispered to Allah through tears, that was real dua. You didn't think about structure, rhythm, or length. You just spoke. You poured out your pain, your fears, and your hopes. And somehow, after that, you felt lighter, not because your problems vina, but because your heart had connected to its source of peace. That's what it means to feel your dua. The Prophet used to make dua with emotion, with his voice trembling, sometimes repeating a single phrase again and again until his eyes overflowed with tears. He showed us that dua is not a checklist. It is a moment of deep connection. It's not something you get done. It's something you just experience. If your dua does not touch your heart, how can it move the heavens? Feeling your dua requires presence, being fully there in that moment. It means shutting out distractions, quieting your thoughts, and turning your attention completely to Allah. It means understanding who you are speaking to. You are not just repeating phrases. You are talking to the Lord of Mirth, the one who controls the universe yet listens to your smallest worries. When that realization settles in your heart, your dua can no longer be mechanical. It becomes alive. Imagine standing before a king to ask for something important. Would you speak casually, without emotion, without focus? Of course not. You would speak with care, with hope, and with reverence. Now think. The one you're addressing in dua is far greater than any king. He is the king of all kings, the owner of time, the one who can make the impossible possible. When you truly understand this, your heart cannot remain still. You begin to feel your dua, not as a set of words, but as a cry from your very soul. There are moments when you might not even find the words. That's okay. Sometimes silence is also dua. Sometimes your tears speak more than your tongue ever could. Allah understands the language of your tears, your sighs, and your pain. You don't have to be eloquent, you just have to be sincere. Feeling your dua means allowing yourself to be vulnerable before Allah, to show Him your weakness, your confusion, your longing. It means trusting that He knows what you cannot express. When you feel your dua, it changes you. You begin to notice that every time you pray with your heart, peace settles over you. Even before you receive an insan, that's because dua is not only about changing your situation, it's about transforming your heart. The Prophet Zir said, dua is the essence of worship. Why? Because in dua, you humble yourself completely before Allah. You admit that you cannot do anything without Him. You surrender. That surrender, when felt deeply, becomes an act of worship more powerful than any words could capture. To feel your dua also means to remember your blessings as you ask. Sometimes we approach dua only with requests. Ya Allah, give me, save me, help me. But when you pause to feel gratitude for what He has already given you, your heart softens, and your dua becomes richer. You say, Ya Allah, thank you for what you've already blessed me with, and if you withhold something now, I still trust your wisdom. That is a dua of someone whose heart is awake. Don't let your dua become routine. Each time you speak to Allah, let it be a new encounter. Slow down, reflect on each phrase. When you say Alhamdulillah, feel the gratitude. When you say Astaghfirullah, feel the remorse. When you say Zalam Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, feel the hope that His mercy will find you. Let your dua be alive with emotion, sadness, love, gratitude, longing, because all of it is beautiful to Allah. So tonight, when you raise your hands, don't just recite, feel Feel the words rising from your chest, not just from you. Let your heart speak before your tongue does. Tell Allah what you feel, not just what you think you should say. When your dua carries the weight of your truth, even if it's only a few words, it will reach Him. And in that moment, that sacred exchange between you and your Creator, you'll realize that dua isn't just it's about connecting. It's the most honest conversation your soul will ever have. Trusting Allah's timing and wisdom is one of the hardest, yet most beautiful parts of faith. Every believer will face moments when they pray, hope, and wait, and the answer doesn't come. The heart begins to whisper of, why not now? Why me? It's in those moments that faith is truly tested. Trusting Allah's timing means believing that He knows what you don't, that He sees what you can't, and that every delay, every detour, and every no from Him carries hidden mercy. When you make dua, you are planting a seed. But just as a seed doesn't sprout the moment you bury it, your prayers also need time, care, and divine wisdom to unfold. Allah knows exactly when to make that seed bloom. Not a second too early, not a second too late. If you received everything you asked for the moment you wanted it, life would lose its depth, and you would lose the sweetness of reliance on Him. The waiting, the longing, the patience, all of it shapes your heart, humbles your soul, and brings you closer to the one you're asking from. Allah's timing is perfect because His knowledge is complete. You see the moment, but He sees the entire journey. You see what's in front of you, but He sees what's ahead. Sometimes He withholds what you ask for because giving it to you too soon might harm you. Sometimes He delays it because He wants you to grow into the kind of person who can handle that blessing. And sometimes He doesn't give you what you want because He plans to give you something far greater. What feels like a closed door may actually be Allah redirecting you to a better path. Think of Prophet Yusuf A.S.A. He was thrown into a well, sold as a slave, and imprisoned for years. If you looked at those moments alone, they might seem like misfortunes. But every single delay, every hardship, was a step in Allah's plan to raise him to a position of power and honor. The same Allah who wrote Yusuf's story is writing yours. With the same wisdom, the same mercy, and the same purpose. You may not understand the chapter you're in right now, but one day you will look back and see how every pause and every pain had meaning. To trust Allah's timing is to surrender your control. It's to stop fighting with what is and start believing that Allah's plan is better than your desire. You might cry for something day and night, thinking it's what you need, but Allah knows your heart more deeply than you ever could. He knows which blessings will bring you closer to Him, and which ones might take you away. That's why sometimes His no is actually His greatest mercy. When Allah delays something, it is not a sign of rejection. It is a sign of love. It means He wants you to keep turning to Him, to keep asking, to keep trusting. Every moment of waiting is an invitation to deepen your connection with Him. You may think the delay is about the thing you asked for, but often it's about what He's building inside you. Patience, humility, resilience, and trust. The Prophet Zir said, "Know that what missed you was never meant to hit you, and what hit you was never meant to miss you." This simple truth can bring peace to even the most restless heart. Nothing escapes Allah's decree. If something is written for you, it will reach you even if it's buried under mountains. And if it's not written for you, no matter how much you chase it, it will never be yours. But here's the beauty. What Allah has planned for you is always better than what you plan for yourself. Trusting Allah's wisdom also means accepting that sometimes pain is part of the plan. We ask for ease, but Allah sometimes sends trials not to hurt us, but to heal us in ways we don't understand yet. The heartbreak that made you cry at night may be the very thing that pushed you to find Allah. The failure that crushed your confidence may have saved you from arrogance. The door that closed may have saved you from walking into something that would destroy your peace. His wisdom weaves through every moment of your life, even the ones that don't make sense now. So when life feels slow, when your prayers seem unanswered, when you feel forgotten, remind yourself Allah's silence is not absence. His delay is not absence. He is working in ways you cannot see. Maybe He is preparing your heart. Maybe He is rearranging circumstances. Maybe He is saving you from something unseen. Whatever the reason, His timing is never wrong. To trust Allah's timing and wisdom is to let your heart rest even when your mind doesn't understand. It's to say, Ya Allah, I don't know why this is happening, but I know You are good. I know You never wrong me. I know You love me. That kind of faith brings peace. Not because everything makes sense, but because you've stopped needing it to. So keep praying. Keep hoping. Keep believing. The one who wrote your story knows exactly when to unfold it. Your job is not to rush the outcome. Your job is to keep your heart steady in the waiting. Because when the timing is right, and when your heart is ready, what Allah has destined for you will find you in ways you never imagined. And in that moment, every delay will make sense. Dua is not just a means to get what you want. It is a journey that transforms who you are. Too often, we approach dua as a list of requests, a way to change our circumstances, to alter what's happening around us. But the deeper purpose of dua is not to change the world outside of you. It is to change the world inside you. When you truly understand this, your dua becomes more than words. It becomes a mirror reflecting your heart, a process that refines your soul, and a dialogue that draws you nearer to Allah in ways no answered prayer ever could. When you make dua, you are not merely asking Allah to rearrange events, you are inviting Him to purify your heart, to soften it, to heal it, to make it content with His will. Each time you raise your hands, you are expressing your dependence on Him. You are admitting, Ya Allah, I need You, I can't do this alone. That humility changes you, it replaces pride with surrender, impatience with trust, and fear with faith. The longer you stay in dua, the more your heart learns to let go of control. And that is where real transformation begins. The most powerful dua is not the one that changes your situation, but the one that changes how you see it. You might pray for an obstacle to be removed, and instead, Allah strengthens your heart to climb over it. You might beg for a storm to pass, and instead, He gives you shelter and peace in the middle of it. You might ask for someone to return to your life, and instead, He teaches you that letting go is also a form of mercy. These are not unanswered prayers. They are answered. They are Allah answering the part of your dua that you didn't even know you were making. The silent plea for growth, patience, and strength. When dua changes your heart, it aligns your desires with Allah's wisdom. You begin to understand that not every yes is good for you, and not every no is a loss. You stop seeing dua as a transaction. I ask, and Allah gives, and start seeing it as a relationship. I ask, and Allah guides. Over time, your dua matures. It moves from give me what I want to give me what is best. It moves from change my life to change as me. Look at the dua of the prophets. When Prophet Musa stood before the sea with his people terrified behind him and Pharaoh's army approaching, he didn't ask for a specific solution. He said, my Lord is with me. He will guide me. That trust came from a heart shaped by prayer. A heart that no longer feared outcomes, but found peace in Allah's presence. When Prophet Yunus was in the belly of the whale, his dua was not of save me from this darkness. It was, there is no God but you. Glory be to you. Indeed, I was among the wrongdoers. His dua was repentance, not complaint. Transformation. That is the dua of a heart that has changed. If you let it, dua will soften the hardest parts of you. It will melt resentment into acceptance and confusion into clarity. It will teach you how to forgive, how to hope, how to love again. It will humble you enough to see that everything good comes from Allah, and everything painful can also lead you back to Him. When your dua becomes consistent, it starts to shape your character. You become more patient because you are waiting on wuzu. You become more grateful because you recognize His favors. You become more compassionate because you remember how often you've been in need. Sometimes you will spend months or years asking for something, and you may feel that nothing is happening. But inside you, everything else is happening. Each sincere dua cleanses your heart a little more. It takes away a layer of arrogance, a layer of attachment, a layer of forgetfulness. By the time Allah gives you what you've been asking for, or gives you something better, you will have become someone who can appreciate it, someone whose heart is ready to receive it. This is the secret. Dua changes the heart before it changes life. It turns you from a warrior into a believer, from a seeker of outcomes into a seeker of Allah Himself. You begin to find peace not in the answer, but in the asking. You start to see that being able to speak to Allah at any time, in any place, is itself one of the greatest gifts. Even if the world stays the same, your heart no longer does. So the next time you make dua, don't just ask for a change in your situation. Ask for a change in your heart. Ask Allah to make you patient in the waiting, grateful in the receiving, and trusting in the silence. Ask Him to make you someone who still raises their hands even when the answer hasn't come, because the act of raising them is itself healing. When you let your dua change your heart, you realize that Allah's greatest gift is not always what He gives you. Sometimes it's what He makes of you in the pursuit